My name is Andrew Peterson. Here is my life story. I was born February 8, 1829 at Jetsmark, Jutland, Denmark as Anders Peterson. I was the son of Peder Peterson and Kirstine Andersen. After becoming converted to Mormonism, I was baptized August 7, 1852 at the age of 33. Before starting for America, I had married in Denmark, a young wife, named Marie Larsen. We crossed the Atlantic in a sailing ship. After reaching America, Marie and I were on our way to Westport, Missouri to join the wagon train, when Marie became very sick. She died June 10, 1853 near Westport. This was a tragic event for me to bury her along the trail. I joined Captain Hans Olsen's large wagon train. We departed from the outfitting post at Westport, Missouri on June 15. There were 550 people and about 70 wagons in the company. We arrived October 5, 1854, in Salt Lake. Within a few days I met a Danish woman, Annie Marie Hansen. Both being Danish, we quickly became acquainted. She was 32 years old. She was born in Storlime, Denmark on the March 13, 1822. She had emigrated to Salt Lake the previous year. We married 10 days after meeting on October 15, 1854 in the Endowment House for Eternity. We stayed in Salt Lake City for a period of time. Our first child, a daughter, Christina, was born September 15, 1855. We called her Stina. The next year we moved to Brigham City, Utah, where our first son Andrew was born on July 4, 1857. He died the next day on the 5th of July. We moved again, this time to Sanpete Valley, locating in Ephraim, Utah. Here our next child, a boy whom we named Lorenzo, was born July 28, 1858. We next moved north some 20 miles to North Bend, which was later called Fairview, in the spring of 1860. When Annie and I first came to Fairview we lived in a dugout. Because of hard work and civic involvement, I became one of Fairview's prominent citizens. On the 27th of September 1860, our fourth child, Peter, was born. He was the first baby boy born in Fairview. He would live to be over 100 years old. His wife, Celestia, would live to be 101 years old. They would be married together for over 81 years, a national record. On the 21st of November 1862, our daughter, Meta Mary, made her appearance in Fairview. 6 years later another daughter, our last child, Anna Marie Hansener, Sini, as we called her, was born on August 3, 1868, in Fairview. In 1864 I married again in polygamy, Agneth Lastatter. I called her Annette. She was born in Hedmark, Norway July 29, 1846. She was 18 years old. With this union, the following 4 boys were born: John, Louis, Andrew, and James. I was a veteran of the Black Hawk Indian War, having served in the local militia several times over a number of years. Black Hawk War is the name of the estimated 150 battles, skirmishes, raids, and military engagements that took place from 1865 to 1872. This war was primarily between Mormon settlers in Sanpete County and members of the Ute, Paiute, Apache and Navajo Indian tribes. The Indians were led by a local Ute war chief, named Black Hawk. In 1864 I was chosen by Apostle Orson Hyde to act as Bishop of Fairview. I was the second Bishop of Fairview Ward, succeeding James Jones. I held this position for 2 years until 1866 when I was honorably released and Amasa Tucker was sustained as bishop. It was while I was bishop that the Big Rock Church house was begun in 1862. The main walls were constructed during my administration and completed and dedicated in 1871, 9 years later. It was later converted into an opera house after the old North Ward Chapel was completed. In Fairview, I engaged in farming and stock raising. I was considered a large farmer, having a fine team of horses and 70 acres of very good land which I continued to work until my death. I was also in a partnership with Otis Terry. We operated a water power sawmill for a few years. This mill was located 1 mile south of Fairview along the Sandpitch River. Logs for sawing at the mill were brought from Birch Creek Canyon. At age 16 our daughter Mary met and married Elias Terry, October 18, 1879. A baby girl was born to them, 2 years later, on November 7, 1881. They named her Anna Marie after her grandmother. Meta died 2 months later on January 2, 1882 at the age of 19. Her obituary reads, "Deceased was born at Fairview November 21, 1862. Though her life was brief, it was spent in usefulness. She died in full faith." 14 days after Meta's passing, baby Anna Marie died on January 16 in Fairview. It was a very sad time for our family. I built the first large 2-story adobe house with 10 rooms in Fairview. It was located on the outskirts of town on the south end of Main Street. The home was noted for its hospitality. We held many social gatherings of relatives and friends, of which we had a goodly number. Large portholes were placed upstairs, in each of the gable ends of our house. Guards used these portholes to look over the countryside to watch and see if the Indians were coming. Fairview suffered more than any place with them. The mountains around Fairview were low, and when pursued, the Indians would ride their horses quickly over them and get to the reservations or hide until the pursuit ended. In the month of May, 1866, the Indians became very hostile, and it was deemed best to have all the settlers of Fairview move to the Mount Pleasant fort for protection. Teams were sent and every Fairview family was moved within the fort in 1 day. The people of Mount Pleasant opened their homes to receive them. While the people of Fairview were living within the walls of the fort of Mount Pleasant, the men went back to Fairview and built forts to protect their property. 3 months later, in August, their work was accomplished, and the people of Fairview returned to their homes. Even after the treaty with the Indians, in 1868, renegade bands of Indians kept annoying the people by begging and stealing. We owned a fine team of horses, which I prized dearly. A very exciting and near-death experience happened to me in 1869 while I was getting a load of gravel. While I was working, I was struck by lightning and knocked over. It knocked both of my horses to the ground, killing one of them. With other men of Fairview, I helped organize the first Fairview Cooperative Mercantile Institution in the year 1869. This was the year that ZCMI was organized in Salt Lake City. I was chosen as vice president of the institution. My death was caused by my overlifting a heavy box at the co-op store. I did this while freighting for this firm. It made me sick and pneumonia followed this. I was confined to my bed for about 2 weeks before I passed away on January 20, 1873. The funeral was the largest that had been held in Fairview up to this time. Over 60 wagons and buggies were in the procession that went to the cemetery. Our family is buried together in the Lower Fairview Cemetery. This inscription is placed on our grave marker. Remember, friends, as you pass by, that all mankind are born to die, then let your cares on Christ be cast, that you may dwell with him at last. That's part of my life story. My advice to you is to keep the faith. Where there is hope, There is faith, where there is faith miracles happen. May God bless you.